usually put on there, please schedule in the AM.
You know, it was funny because, you know, I always like, oh, you know, I can do my own taxes, and I told you I decided not to because her numbers were way better than mine. But a couple of years ago, we ran into an issue with the way Sparta paid out some taxes or something, and so she had to file like amended returns for 3 or 4 years in a row.
Oh, no.
And I was like, thank God I'm not dealing with this. And the IRS is sending me letters like, you owe us this, and she's like, don't do anything. She's like, you know, we'll get it taken care of, and so it's like, this is worth its weight in gold for me not to deal with this.
You know, that's, a lot of times that's what I tell people. You know, if you end up being a client for 10 or 15 years, there will be 1 year where there will be a tremendous benefit, you know.
And I mean, I keep every record. I could pull my stuff from 4 years ago and you know, produce it, but I know there's a lot of people who don't.
Yeah.
Boy, I sure do. I've been down both sides and up and down.
You know what? One of my tax letters
Joey went back.
this year, millions of people are paying tax screwed up. They know that the IRS has had their staff cut, so they're taking big chances on their returns.
I've heard of that. I've heard that, you know, because, and I mean, I even experienced it at this Grand Rapids office.
Have you heard
We used to deal with them on some stuff here.
removal of stuff from cemeteries?
Then the guy we worked with for a year and a half was gone because, you know, when they first did the Doge cuts.
Yeah.
And then the new guy, I said, well, you know, just pull up our file. He said, oh, for your safety, we discard your file when your person retires or leaves. And I was like, what do you mean? So I said, the IRS doesn't keep any records? And they said, no, when your person leaves, we just discard everything.
All right, let's get started, everybody. All right, good evening. We're going to go ahead and commence the Ada Township regular board meeting for Monday, April 13th. Could we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence? Let's see here. Would our clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Damstrau?
Here.
Trustee Carter?
Here.
Trustee Hurwitz?
Here.
Trustee Prose?
Here.
Treasurer Moran?
Here.
Clerk DeMarco here. Supervisor Ford?
Here. Thank you. Our agenda tonight has one late-minute addition, which is under item 7, the approval of the warrants. We're going to add on item C, which is the consider the Hall Street Lift Station Improvement Change Order number 3 for additional landscaping for $2,270. So whoever would please move on the agenda, please include that 7C item.
Would that go under pay applications, or would that go under?
It'd go under the approval of warrants is where we normally do change orders.
Okay. So moved. Adding the Hall Street Lift Station landscaping improvements under the township warrants.
Second.
Thank you, gentlemen. We have a motion by trustee Prose, support by trustee Carter, with including item 7C under warrants. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay, hearing none, that motion carries. Okay, so we're going to go into the general township business with the motion to approve the minutes and accept and file reports and communications under the consent agenda. I'll just take a moment to read these just for completeness. There is a number of items. The regular board meeting minutes from March 23rd, the closed session meeting minutes from March 9th, the closed session meeting minutes from March 23rd, the regular work session meeting minutes from March 30th, the special work session meeting minutes from March 17th, the joint township board / downtown development authority board special work session meetings minutes from March 5th. That's those items. And then the receive and file the various reports and communications, which is the Historical Society meeting minutes from February 12th, DDA board meeting minutes from February 17th, the Planning Commission meeting minutes from February 19th, Covered Bridge Park progress meeting number 16, minutes from March 31st, the Thornapple Pedestrian Bridge meeting number 4, March 20th, Thornapple River Pedestrian Bridge meeting minutes number 5, April 3rd, and the Hall Street Lift Station progress meeting number 4, minutes from March 20th. Clearly, we are a busy township based on that list. So, would someone consider moving on approving all of these minutes unless there's any questions or comments on any of them?
I move to approve the township minutes and reports and consent agenda, all 13 of them.
Support.
So we have a motion by trustee Prose and support by trustee, thank you, Dan, sorry. The day gets long, I apologize. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? No one's opposed. Hearing none, thank you. That motion carries unanimously. All right, so we'll move on to the first item of Section 7, the approval of the warrants. Township general warrants. Would our treasurer please read the information?
Thank you, Supervisor Korth. Tonight, Monday, April 13th, 2026, we have hand checks that total $306,217.87 and warrants that total $307,369.81 for a total of all hand checks and warrants of $613,587.68.
I won't say what.
I noticed it too.
I'll move approval of the warrant report for March 20, no, I mean, that was a joke. April 13th, in the amount of $613,587.68.
Support.
All right, thank you. Moved by trustee Prose, supported by trustee Carter. All in favor, oh, excuse me, this is a roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Korth,
Aye.
Clerk DeMarco, aye. Treasurer Moran,
Aye.
Trustee Prose,
Aye.
Trustee Hurwitz,
Aye.
Trustee Carter,
Aye.
Trustee Damstraw.
Aye.
Thank you very much. All right. The next item is, again, under warrants, it's number 7B. Consider the Covered Bridge Park pay application number 6 from Caterberg Verhaeg in the amount of $154,269.50.
Good evening, Pierce Pansky, Progressive Companies. So in front of you is pay application number 6. This covers a multitude of items, including 10% of the restroom construction, 5% of the canopy construction, sand subbase and aggregate in the parking lot, 3 storm catch basins, and the last 50% of the helical piers for the canopy. Yep, so all these items make sense. We've been tracking them and have agreed with the contractor on it. As you guys have known, water's been very wet out there, so construction's unfortunately been halted last week and this week. It's too wet to drive any heavy machinery on it without it sinking, and then unfortunately looks like it's going to rain again. So I apologize for saying that weather is cooperating in the pay application. That was just irony. Absolutely is not. So any questions on this or anything else?
I do.
Yes.
Because of all the water and the flooding, how much of this place is a compacted sand subbase and aggregate base is going to be washed away? I have no idea at this point.
So far, looking at it, they saw this coming up, so they planned a little bit. If you've seen that kind of open strip, there's like a lower spot where they let the water pool. The goal there was to allow space for the water to go down. Wash off and runoff has been pretty minimal. I've been pretty happy with it. The compaction was really well, so it didn't move much. There'll be a little bit of fix up and stuff, but their goal is to get that fully compacted, if possible, this week. That's their goal. That's their stated goal, but we'll see. Nothing too big rework wise. I think it's all pretty expected. Yep.
At this point, is the rain setting back your expected finish dates?
Yeah, losing last week, and then probably most, if not all, this week is going to push us back a bit. Yep. And this is just a act of God, is what it's considered underneath the.
Yeah, no, I
Specs,
understand
yeah.
that part.
Yeah.
I didn't know, based on where you were and where you are, if you thought it was gonna.
Yeah, we have talked some contingency plans for how to partially open the park and stuff for the 4th if we push past that, such as, partial opening and stuff. There's been a little bit of work here and there. The last items will be the playground and some of the landscaping, so that will be some of the last pieces. But we've been talking contingency, just understanding this is always a possibility given the location next to the river and such. So, yep.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All things considered, let's hope that we don't need a nice big change order to replace the stuff that we're paying tonight, so.
Nope. The good news is that they pay by completion. So if it gets washed out, they got to put it back. So, yep. No worries on that one whatsoever.
I'll remember that.
No worries. Yep.
I move approval of pay application number 6 to, who is it again? Caterburg for Hag in the amount of, I guess, why am I making the motion if I'm not doing it?
$154.
There it is, 154, 269.50. I just read it.
I'll second it.
Thank you, gentlemen.
What else you're doing?
Moved by trustee Prost, supported by trustee Carter, to approve the number 6 application to Caterburg Hague. This is a roll call vote.
Trustee Hurwitz.
Aye.
Trustee Carter.
Aye.
Supervisor Korth.
Aye.
Clerk DeMarco, aye. Treasurer Moran.
Aye.
Trustee Prose.
Aye.
Trustee Damstra.
Aye.
Okay, the next item is our addition, which is to consider the Hall Street Lift Station Improvement Change Order Number 3, $2,270 for additional landscaping. Julius gave us that information at the start of the meeting. And are you going to speak?
Yeah, I can speak to it real quick, and then if Ryan has anything to add. Jacob Brujink with Moore & Brujink had reached out, indicated that when the electrical improvements were made to the lift station, there was a couple trees that were removed that screened Fernridge Drive residents from seeing the back of the lift station. And he had reached out, and the residents had reached out to the contractor and asked for them to be replaced. It's $2,270 in terms of the change order. I had looked at what was originally included, where the trees were at. The first thought was from Moore & Brujink was we could pull some of the landscaping out from the front of it to replace and trade off. And I said, we don't want to do that because we want screening from the road. We don't necessarily want it to be highly visible, but we also want residents to have essentially it blocked like it has been in the past. And so I had asked him for this change order information. The current project cost, and I apologize, this is pretty late, I got it this afternoon, but the current project cost is $1,969,605.09. The new change order amount would be $1,971,875.09. Because it was only $2,270, I'll be honest, I thought about just approving it under my own authority, but since we were having a meeting today, I thought, well, I'm gonna bring it here, because who doesn't love to talk about consumers' energy and $2,200? But what I would say is, we always try to do right by the residents. I asked if consumers would pay. Moore & Brujink reached out to consumers. They've indicated no. As we've dealt with before, and we know this, again, we don't have to like it, but the reality is when we hire consumers to do a project and they have the ability to cut what they need to do the work they need to do. And so, again, the project is moving forward. It's successful. I think this falls within what we have potentially in project contingency, and be able to handle that without causing any issue. And Ryan, I don't know if you have anything you wanted to add.
Just that consumers is scheduled to power everything up tomorrow. With that being the case, K&R is on schedule to start up for the lift station Thursday, and then the landscaping after that happens will be done probably yet this month.
Do we need to pay it yet, or do we approve it?
So we approve it now, we don't pay it till we get the final pay application. Mhm,
So this is approval of the change order?
correct.
Okay, then, as it is a change order, it'd be a roll call vote too?
Correct.
Move approval of the change order for landscaping in the amount of $2270 to Camden Roosevelt, second, no, what's that? Yeah, Roosevelt. I don't know what change order it is.
Number 3.
Number 3?
Second.
Thank you. Moved by trustee Prost, supported by trustee Carter, to approve the change order for $2,270 for Hall Street Lift Station, order number 3. Would you please call, Clerk DeMarco, please call the roll.
Supervisor Korth,
Aye.
Clerk DeMarco, aye. Treasurer Moran,
Aye.
Trustee Prose,
Aye.
Trustee Hurwitz.
Aye.
Trustee Carter,
Aye.
Trustee Damstra. Aye.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, we're now on to item 8, which is the first public comment of the evening. Would any members of the public like to come up to talk about any matter that they would like to talk about? Okay, seeing and hearing no one, I will close the public comment and move on to our next item, which is item 9, unfinished business, which is consider award of mowing contract for a period of 3 years, 2026 to 2028.
Thank you Supervisor Korth. So I'll handle this, and then if Dennis, BFG Director Brinks needs to come up and answer any questions, happy to do so. But we tabled this at the last board meeting, and Dennis had reached out to a number of the contractors with some of the follow-up questions. We ultimately took all that information to the Buildings Grounds Utility Committee. Building Grounds Utility Committee reviewed all that, and the recommendation is to award the 3-year lawn mowing contract to Thornapple Inc. For the amount of $323,324. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Why don't you mention in there about the monthly progress meetings and any other issues?
Yeah, I think one of the things that, as we talked with Scott, as Dennis had talked with Scott, was just making sure that when we do have a concern, it's communicated effectively so that Scott's aware of it. I think in the past, what might have happened is, if one of our staff sees a mower out there, they might say something to the mower doesn't necessarily say something to Scott, and then that department head didn't necessarily say something to Dennis, so it's not documented well, and so Scott has no reason to believe that things aren't going well. And like I talked about at the last meeting, Thornapple Inc.'s been doing this for over 15 years, and so, some of these concerns start to blend together in terms of when we had issues, who the employees were, things like that. So as part of this, we're going to be planning on having those department heads who have the properties, meet with Dennis on a monthly basis, make sure we're relaying those concerns to Scott and his team so that we can just keep track of it, good documentation, so that we're happy and satisfied with the product, but also that Scott knows that the work that is getting done needs to get done, and that the township is satisfied.
Could I add something to that, Julius? I think that we had a wonderful meeting where, again, as you said, all the department heads who have something to do with any kind of certain property that needs mowing, we've gotten better at outlining what our expectations are for this particular contractor and to all contractors moving forward. I've been saying all along, that is our responsibility, and I think that it makes for a better relationship. So, thank you.
I'm reading this right. They're the low bid, too.
Correct,
Right.
yep.
Yeah, if you recall, there was consideration of a higher bid, but
Right.
we spent a fair amount of time at the admin committee reflecting on what had happened, how it was, and that it really made the most sense to give Thornapple another chance, since they were certainly the low bidder, and that enhanced the communication between the teams, and I think that the whole thing should come into focus.
Mm-hmm.
And it certainly makes it easier for us to approve the low bid.
I'll make a motion that we approve the BGU committee recommendation awarding the 3-year lawn mowing contract to Thornapple Inc.
Support.
Great, thank you. Moved by trustee Carter, supported by treasurer Moran. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. All right, we have no public hearing tonight, so we're going to move on to section 11 here, which is the first item is a resolution R041326-1, a resolution to approve an amended PUD plan for the plan unit development at 7510, 7518, 7520, and 7524 Faith Street. Thank you, John. Director Planning Director said is up at the dais to explain this request.
Thank you. Good evening, Supervisor Korth and members of the board. John Said, Director of Planning for the Township. This is a PUD, Planned Unit Development Amendment, that was up at the March Planning Commission meeting. There was a public hearing held. Only one written comment was received in favor of the project. This is an amendment to the existing planned unit development whereby it converts, as you can see from the drawings, it converts the last unit to be built on Faith Street and the remaining vacant lot on Faith Street. These are just west of that Calder Financial Office. I'm sorry, just east of that Calder Financial Office, across the street from Oxbow. It converts that from what had been a single-family unit to a stacked duplex unit, essentially a first-floor unit and then a second-floor unit. As you can see, the appearance remains pretty much the same, except for the addition of a small garage space in the front. That's basically it. I'll try to answer any questions. Also, Mr. Turan, who is the applicant, and Mr. Dixon, who is the architect, are here. If there's any detailed questions that I cannot answer, perhaps they can.
The only thing that I'll say is that the 3 units that have already been built are beautifully built and settled in nicely. Very impressive. And I'm also assuming, given all of our weather that we've had, since those have been built, but even more recently, that there's no water issues at all that have
No, sir.
evolved or anything.
That's right.
If I'm ready for a motion, I'll make it. All right. Yeah, I move that we approve the attached resolution approving the amended PUD, subject to the conditions that are detailed in the draft resolution.
Support.
We have our motion from Trustee Carter, supported by Trustee Danstra. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by, is it a roll call? It's a roll call vote, excuse me, go ahead, Clerk DeMarco.
Supervisor Korth,
Aye.
Clerk DeMarco, aye. Treasurer Moran,
Aye.
Trustee Prose,
Aye.
Trustee Damstra,
Aye.
Trustee Carter,
Aye.
Trustee Hurwitz.
Aye.
Right, thank you. All right, the next item.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director said. The next item is Resolution R041326-2, a resolution to reappoint Craig Schmotlock to the PRLP Advisory Board, which is the Parks, Recreation, and Land Preservation Advisory Board. I had an opportunity to get familiar with Craig's original application. He's well-suited because he's got a lot of experience in parks management. He's been a contributing member because I sit on the PRLP myself, and I just think reappointing him would be very good because of the progress that they're making and his input. So I'm hoping that the board agrees with me.
Move approval of resolution R041326-2. That's confirming the reappointment of Craig Schmotlock to the Ada Township Parks, Recreation, and Land Preservation Advisory Board.
Support.
Thank you. We have a motion by Trustee Prose, supported by Treasurer Moran. It's also another roll call vote. DeMarco, if you'll help us, please.
Trustee Damstra,
Aye.
Trustee Carter,
Aye.
Trustee Hurwitz.
Aye.
Trustee Prose,
Aye.
Treasurer Moran,
Aye.
Clerk DeMarco, aye. Supervisor Korth.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, resolution R041326-3, a resolution to authorize a special event liquor license application for Beers at the Bridge on June 12th and August 14th, 2026. I think we've seen this many times before at this point. So,
I'll keep it succinct then. Good evening, Supervisor Korth and the rest of the Township Board. Kevin Austin, DDA Director. This is the same resolution you've seen around this time every year. Both the dates are depicted there, June 12th and August 14th. Those are a week earlier than typical. We were coordinating with some of our partners, and we found it advantageous to move it forward just a week. So trying to get ahead of that, get this resolution to you guys. As you're aware, this does happen inside of our social district. Therefore, MLCC requires us to create a barrier to delineate the event boundaries versus the rest of the social district. So you can see that on the last page of what I've included. This is the event barrier with the specifics of the bike rack barricade that we utilized last year that worked very effectively. Some good positive feedback on the bike rack barricade. Something to note is that for the purposes of the timeline, I submitted this, but there will be a slight alteration that won't affect the requirements from MLCC, but as you're aware, there's a large bridge that is going to be going in just to the right there, and that will alter our layout just a little bit. On that side, we intend on putting the bike rack barricade on what would be the eastern side or the eastern rail of the bridge, so people still have to pass through security to enter into the event space, but working on that layout right now.
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution R-041326-3, authorizing the Beers at the Bridge application for a special license.
Support.
thank you. Motion by Treasurer Moran, support by Trustee Hurwitz. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Korth,
Aye.
Clerk DeMarco, aye. Treasurer Moran,
Aye.
Trustee Prose,
Aye.
Trustee Hurwitz,
Aye.
Trustee Carter,
Aye.
Trustee Damstra.
Aye.
Okay, consider approval of the proposal for the Moore and Brugink Grand River Drive Trail Improvements Project budget for design and construction, engineering, inspection, and project contingencies for an amount not to exceed $183,078.50.
Good evening Supervisor Korth and Township Board. Ryan Aarons, Moore and Brugink, Township Engineer. Outlined in the letter, we put together an overall project budget letter for the bids that we're going to talk about here for our next agenda item. That total project budget letter includes design bid package preparation cost, construction engineering, staking and inspection cost, and then a contingency cost. Of those, they total $183,078.50. Of that, much of the design and bid package preparation has already been invoiced and in the queue for the township to pay already. The remainder would be billed and invoiced after construction starts. The contingency is just that, a contingency, a what if, in case there's any unknowns encountered, that type of thing. So.
Okay.
I have a question, Ryan. I know you guys, you and Dennis had met with owner of Holiday Farms, and just wanted to follow up. There was some talk about a retaining wall work.
Yep.
And is that included in here, or is that separate, or is
That is not included in here.
Okay.
I did talk to Ben Tomet a little bit about that. He was thinking that the retaining wall was failing. Need to look at that a little bit closer, and kind of go from there.
Okay. So we don't know yet. We could have a potential to look at that retaining wall as well.
Correct.
So are we fat in that contingency, Ryan?
A little bit, I would say. Generally, contingency on a project is in the range of 5 to 10%. If you're doing underground work, I generally definitely put 10% on there, because when you're digging underground, there's a lot of unknowns. This is more above ground work, so you could probably get away with 5%. It's set at just above 8, so we're a little fat on it.
But we don't end up using it unless the board approves a change order.
Correct. So before it would be used at all, we would bring any extra work to you to review and approve before it's done.
All right. I move approval of the Grand River Trail project design and construction, engineering and contingency proposal in the amount of not to exceed $183,078.50.
Was that a deal?
Motion.
No, I was going for it.
You had to catch me.
We have the motion to approve the Moore design engineering for the Grand River Trail replace or rebuild project. Moved by Trustee Pros, supported by Trustee Hurwitz. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Thank you. Okay, now, we're going on to the next one. Got you back to back here. Consider award of Grand River Trail Improvement Project to Tomic Construction for an amount not to exceed $878,296.25.
Yes, thank you Supervisor Korth. We received 4 very competitive bids late last month for the trail improvements on Graven River Drive from Fulton all the way up to Knapp Street. The bids ranged from $876,921.50 that was low, and then the high bidder was $1,488,000. Our estimate was closer to the $1.2 million range, so very good bid numbers. Interestingly enough, Tomic Construction was second low. They were at $878,296.25, so they were within $1,400 of the low bid. All of the contractors that we allowed to bid on the project are pre-qualified with Moore and Brugink and thus pre-qualified with the township. We would not allow them to bid on the project if they didn't have a satisfactory record on past projects. So we recommended the low bid, which is Anlon Construction. I think in talking with Julius, there was, kind of the thought that, hey, we could also award this to Tomic Construction. It's a local contractor, keep the township money in the township, that type of thing. So I would see no issue awarding it to either Anlon Construction or Anlon Corporation or Tomic Construction. So.
And it looks like both of them are using Great Lakes Paving as a subcontractor?
That's correct. So they're going to use the same paver. Interestingly enough, they did have a different cost on the asphalt paving. Anlon Corporation was at $115 a ton. Tomic Construction was at $121 a ton, and that's just a matter of prime contractors will kind of play games and move around where they'll get a price from a subcontractor and they may mark that up a little bit. So I think that's kind of what the result of that was.
And what is your process in regards to these subcontractors? Do you pre-approve those, or it's all the original contractor?
We do not pre-qualify subcontractors.
Okay.
The contract between the township and the prime contractor is all with the prime contractor. So if there's an issue, we hold the prime contractor liable.
Okay.
It's he needs to go after his subcontractor and make it right.
Okay.
So.
And that was one of the questions when the bid was so close. I had asked Ryan, basically to check out Tomic Construction's bid as well. The main question being, if he's going to sub it out, who's he subbing it out to? And if it's the same contractor, then obviously the board could consider that. The board could also award it to Anlon, but I wanted to bring it, since it is $1,374, having a local contractor who's done extensive trail work would be beneficial as well.
And I think still stock some wood for us.
I think he's still got some of our wood too.
I'll move approval on this.
Well, I was just gonna ask if they did the original work there.
They did not. So Tomic hasn't done any of the trail work. Tomic has done almost all the boardwalk work in the township. And so that was one of the questions I had to Ryan, and he said, well, really, they're subbing out the paving. And so they'll do the crushing and shaping, they'll do boardwalk, any of the other stuff we're going to do. They're just subbing out to the same contractor that Anlon would as well. So this would be the first paving project that Tomic Construction has done.
I saw this and I called Ben and asked him about it. He said, well, my real advantage is I know every inch of the trail, and I'm really good at making sure that the cement that lets to the bridge itself is excellent. And I said, you'll have my vote, or I'll have your vote, whatever you want. Switch it around a little bit there.
You were making the motion.
Yes. I'm gonna make the motion to award the Grand River Trail Improvement Project to Tama Construction in an amount not to exceed $878,296.25.
I'll second.
Motion by trustee Prost, support by trustee Carter, to award the trail improvement project to Tomet Construction. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ryan. All right. Next item is consider the proposal from Valley City Sign for Covered Bridge Park donor wall signage fabrication installation for an amount not to exceed $46,081. Hi, good evening,
Yes,
sir.
good evening. Wesley Deason, Director of Parks and Recreation. So what you'll see here is a request to enter into contractual agreement for the purchase of the donor wall with Valley City Signs, as Supervisor Korth mentioned, in the amount of $46,000.81. So this is an item that the township, we're looking to directly procure. It's been an intricate process to get this donor wall finalized. And working with our campaign committee chairs on the direction of the wall, the amount of donors that were still coming in when the project was starting with the final engineer's estimate. And then really the biggest component was this outlier for a potential, at the time, not a plaque, a sculpture honoring the name, the Leonard Faze name at the park. And so that was a very delicate conversation that I had with the Faze family to gauge their interest, because Township Manager Suchi and I did some research on various bronze sculptures and different sizes and capacities of how we were going to honor the Faze family in that capacity, with knowing in mind that they may very well say, hey, we don't really want anything in the park. And that ultimately, through a very long phone conversation that I had with members of the Faze family, they politely declined any recognition in the new park space. So that completely shifted the direction to just focus on a donor wall, and that's what you're seeing reflected in this price. As well as some of the renderings here, you guys can get an idea. Julius, if you can scroll down a little bit, yeah. So I've worked through the multiple renderings. Progressive's been very helpful in helping us track some of this down as well. But our campaign chairs, Joshua Hulst and Lauren Crandall, have been really awesome in helping us narrow down our focus and the aesthetic. And so, yeah, it's a three-tiered system with visionary benefactors, cornerstone leaders, and community advocates. And each of those, I don't have off the top of my head, but each of those ranges represent a dollar amount that was given to support the campaign. You'll also see some of the mounting and signs that are going to be included throughout the park, as well as the bench markers for the backs of the benches as well. Lastly, Julius, if you can scroll to the overhead shot of the park, I just wanted to let everybody know, kind of get a visual. That star right there is where this sign is to be located. So happy to answer any questions you guys may have. But just bringing this today, we understand there's about a 6-week lead time for fabrication and for the elements that Valley City Sign needs.
So is the money, this 46,000, is that coming out of basically the budget that we?
This is coming out of the Connecting Community Fund.
We did use, in the sign, you'll see in the renderings here, we took the elements and the colors that have recently been used on the wayfinding signs, so we have a cohesive look and approach with this sign as well.
Need a motion?
Yep, please.
All right, I move we approve the contractual services with Valley City Signs for the fabrication and installation of the Covered Bridge Park donor recognition sign in an amount not to exceed $46,081.
Support.
All right. moved by trustee Carter, supported by treasurer Moran, for the approval of the donor wall signage. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Wesley. All right. The next item is consider the license agreement with Altacor Incorporated for use of 7575 East Fulton Street for the 2026 4th of July fireworks show.
Thank you, Supervisor Korth. So this is a license agreement that we approve every year with Altacor, allowing the township to hold the 4th of July fireworks on the property located at 7575 East Fulton. We run this through our insurance company as well. We pull special insurance coverage just for this event. That insurance coverage is split in cost with Cascade Township as part of the fireworks show. And so we're just seeking a motion to approve the license agreement between Altacor and Ada Township for the 2026 4th of July fireworks show.
Has the rain date moved to the 6th because of Sunday?
Correct.
We know. Otherwise, it's pretty much identical to the post.
Can we make an adjustment to the last page?
Oh, yeah, that would be nice.
We can do that.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Someone consider moving on this?
No,
They got your title, right?
thankful for small favors, right?
With that change, I'll make the motion to approve the license agreement between Altacor and Ada Township for the location of the 2026 4th of July fireworks show.
I'll support.
Motion by trustee Carter, supported by clerk DeMarco, for the annual license agreement for the fireworks. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. All right, consider the work order from Kent County Road Commission for design, engineering, survey, and staking for 3 Mile Road from Pettus to Egypt Valley Avenue for an amount not to exceed $75,000.
So this is an item that's been discussed, I think at a couple of meetings, we've talked a little bit about it. As the residents on 3 Mile Road have requested additional maintenance of the road commission originally scheduled a public hearing for April 28th to consider removal of the natural beauty road designation. A number of us had a meeting with the road commission a couple weeks ago. We believe there's another path forward without removal of the natural beauty road designation. While we continue to work with the road commission for them to see our way of thinking, we did talk through what we can do to expedite the conversation around 3 Mile Road. Not necessarily paving, but our goal is obviously to improve the road surface, but keep the natural beauty road designation. I have communicated with a number of the residents on 3 Mile Road. They are very happy right now with the condition of the road. They're very happy with the amount of work the road commission is putting in. Now, whether it's real or perceived, because when I talk to the road commission, they say they're doing nothing special. But when you talk to the residents on 3 Mile Road, and Dan, you're one of them, they say, we see the road commission every day now. And so again, it is what it is. The road is in much better shape right now. But for us to move forward, all gravel roads, none of them have staking, topography, any of the engineering details of a traditional road. And so the road commission provided the work order. The amount is a not to exceed $75,000. This is a pretty high number. The idea being it's actually billed on actual time and effort. Anytime they look at build a work order for engineering and design, it can go from a gravel road all the way up to a paved road. And so realistically, they understand where we're coming at and where we want to stay with being a gravel road. And we had a really good conversation. Like I said, we referenced Egypt Valley as a road that got paved before, that went from a gravel road and completely now looks like basically a freeway with the trees being removed in the right-of-way. And so they had indicated there is a lot of flexibility, which is something we haven't heard a lot from the road commission, in terms of let's get the staking, let's get the survey done so that we can sit down and look at and say, where does there need to be improvements, where does there not need to be improvements. So they've definitely backed off of their stance before that we need to cut 28 feet, we need to do X, Y, Z. And we said, we think this will be helpful as we move forward to explain to the residents what a true impact is. Part of this also looks at anything that would be done with any improvements to 3 Mile Road are not going to happen in 2026. Realistically, the construction season is started, as you can see from the work orders we have on the other things that will be considered tonight. And so one of the options as well is looking at a wrap treatment, which is what we've done for 2 Mile Road and what we're scheduled to do for Crampton, Leonard, and Conservation this year. And so I've communicated with a couple residents that that's something we're exploring. They're very happy to hear that. The Road Commission is actually at their board meeting tomorrow, I believe, going to postpone the public hearing for April 28th. And the reason is they still have to hold a public hearing within 6 months of when they receive the petitions. But what they'd like to do is to be able to try to get some of this engineering work done so that when that meeting is held, there can at least be some awareness about what level of improvement there would be. So instead of having a meeting where we get up and say we don't want the natural beauty road designation removed, the residents get up and say they want the road maintained. Instead, we can both come from a path of the Road Commission and Township are working together to try to identify the best solution for not only this road, but also the other 20 miles of natural beauty roads. Because residents on 2 Mile Road and other roads are looking at this as well to say, what's happening on 3 Mile Road? How does it impact my future maintenance of our road? And if we move forward with any maintenance improvement project, the split on this will move from 100% Township, 0% Road Commission to 55% Township, 45% Road Commission. But this is essentially kind of a fail-safe to make sure we move forward with the project. If we want to get the engineering done and don't want to move forward, then the Road Commission doesn't want to foot the bill.
So in other words,
Go ahead.
just all I was going to say was, so the 75, if we do nothing ultimately, we pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
If we go ahead and do some improvements, we end up closer to this 55-45 split of that 75 too.
Correct.
I have two, I don't know if they want to call them issues or questions. Number one, I just want to make sure that the residents, excuse me, understand, Dan, that they chose to remove the designation by virtue of the petitions that they signed, okay? I want them to be clear that this was not something that we were imposing on them. This is a decision that will better maintain the road. You know what I'm saying? I don't want them to think, well, we signed all the petitions and we wanted to remove the designation and now you're saying not to.
Yep, yeah.
I don't want the perception to be out there that we pushed for that when they chose to sign all those petitions.
Yep.
That's number one. Number two, moving forward, correct me if I'm wrong, the Road Commission is not known for clearly outlining the nature of the scope of work that they're going to do. I'd like to see that changed.
Well, I mean, they will. I mean, the work orders that we have considered later is what we would consider for 3 Mile Road in the future. So, I mean, if whatever engineering plans are looked at, reviewed, agreed upon, then there would be plans associated with it that would outline the work to be done.
Okay.
To the first point regarding the communication, I agree. I mean, I feel bad the residents a little bit went through the process they did. And realistically, because we heard from the Road Commission that was the way to get better maintenance of the road. And so I did communicate to the Road Commission. I also communicated to Jennifer Marsh, who had attended our meeting and was kind of one of the representatives, that if the board approved this, that I would be communicating with the residents via a letter to everyone on 3 Mile Road in this stretch, letting them know what's happening, letting them know whether the public hearing tomorrow, at the board meeting for the Road Commission tomorrow gets postponed or not, and why. And that we're not trying to avoid the conversation, but what we're trying to do is make a much more informed decision and create a better process for the future so that we don't get into the situation where we did, where the Road Commission said, well, the only way to do that is X. And then we pushed back, and whether the Road Commission agrees or not, they have been much more amenable to having a conversation since we started pushing on these different issues. And so I agree. I mean, I think communication is important. The Road Commission is not going to, I believe, do any communication. Even if the public hearing is canceled, they might put a sign out on the road because that's what they did to announce the public hearing. So we will be communicating with the residents to let them know what's happening. And if there is questions or concerns, obviously to reach out and we can try to clarify any issues.
Okay.
They have to have a public hearing now.
Yes, they do correct, within 6 months of the original petition, they have to hold that public hearing. Now, the idea was that, they had reached out and said, when do you want to schedule it? And we had kind of said, well, schedule as soon as possible so that we can keep this moving forward. So if there wasn't any opportunity for improvements to be completed this year, then they would. Now, as we dug into it further, we think there's another path. The road commission seems to agree, and that's why they're willing to table this. But they still do have to hold a public hearing within 6 months. So they don't have the ability to deny it or rescind the public hearing notice.
The good news is I think that they are most happy and appreciative that this is the most visible work that they've seen done. It's been ongoing on a regular basis, and it's the most communication that they've received. So if nothing else, that's a good thing.
Having been in the meeting with the road commission, and, there seems to be, between Julius and maybe to some degree me, but an ability to communicate more effectively about the uniqueness of our community and what we're willing to carry and work through to accomplish ultimately what we want to do. And that they seem to have been gun shy primarily because somewhere along in the past when they tried to do some work, they got threatened with being sued by residents and they just got a bad taste in their mouth. And we kind of broke through that whole legacy issue. And I think we're in a much better place. And I think it's a really important place for us to be because we do have so many miles of these roads and they've never been properly engineered. We've got a lot of high-value properties, residential properties now built along these roads. And I just think that, today's the day and the time that we really need to be trying to address this so that we both preserve the legacy of the community, but at the same time we accomplish better roads.
It's a three-way relationship. It's the residents, the township, and the road commission.
Correct.
All I'm trying to say is, maybe this started out a little bit rough, but we've come to a place where I think we're in a really good spot with all three entities.
So long as we continue to work hard at the granular level, which, Julia's writing these letters to everyone, I think is indicative of that. I think that's the kind of way we should handle it. So.
Yes.
Somehow I missed all this. So I didn't even know that this whole thing was blowing up, even though I lived right on the street there. But I think knowing what I know now, what we've learned, I'd be real careful about making any changes to our natural beauty roads or anything, especially without doing what he's talking about right here. And if you think about it, doing this engineering study, we'd be going into these meetings on this road blind. We have no idea, without having that engineering study done, what needs to be done or could happen. Like even some of the people that are living on that street that may have signed that, they don't realize that they may have all their trees removed here. They also...
That's where the communication comes in. They didn't know what they didn't know. They didn't know what all their options were and what ramifications that each option would have. So I think we've gotten past all that.
But see, Joe, the county couldn't have communicated to them without this engineering study. They wouldn't know whether they need to develop the ditches along the side of the road or remove trees. So they wouldn't even know how to communicate here. I think this is a good process. The other thing I'll say, and I've lived on that street since 1989, and they kind of verified this when I asked about it, is I don't necessarily, I tend to agree with the county that I don't think they're doing anything more unusual than what they've done in the past on that road. I don't think they're stepping it up, but I do think this, that I think the materials they use and the science they're using on that road, I can see it in 30 years, how that road has improved. And this year, again, it's better than it was the year before. Last year, it was better than it was the year before that. It's getting better, okay? Now, we had a really bad winter and a bad fall, and that road got pretty rough. We also had some construction on that road. I mean, a house being built with construction equipment going up and down that road. So I think that led to some of the damage to that road as well. So I think this is the right approach to take, though. You know, let's not get into this blind. Let's find out, you know, what do we need to do to improve that road? That's it.
Are you ready to move?
I'd be happy to make a motion to approve
Well, I forgot about that.
Kent County Road Commission work order to perform survey plans and staking of 3 Mile Road from Pettis Avenue to Egypt Valley for amount not to exceed $75,000.
I better second that.
We have a motion by Treasurer Moran, support by Trustee Carter,
I pulled a Bob.
to approve the 3 Mile Road engineering work for $75,000. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Thank you, everybody. I think we've come a long way on this topic, and I'm very pleased about that. Okay, the next one is to consider the work order from Kent County Road Commission for full depth mill and fill of Clements Mill Drive, which is Altadale to Hartfield Drive, Hartfield Drive, which is Maple Hill Avenue to Clements Mill Drive, Highbury Drive, which is Maple Hill Avenue to Clements Mill Drive, and Maple Hill Avenue, which is Ada Drive to Hartfield Drive. Is it essentially the entire subdivision?
Not the entire, it's just kind of the center core.
Okay, all right, for an amount not to exceed $360,000.
And then we have, I mean, so the way I've put it together is kind of a summary of both work orders. So the first one is a full depth mill and fill, as Supervisor Korth indicated. The second one is a work order for a seal coat for Conservation Street from Honey Creek Avenue to McCabe, and then McCabe Avenue from Conservation to Downs. Work order 1 includes a full depth mill and fill of 2 inches. It's 1.34 miles of road improvements. We split that at a 50-50, so it's a $360,000 project. The township will be on the hook for $180,000. And work order 2 is a seal coat. That is for 2.53 miles of road improvements, and the township will fund $140,000, and the road commission will fund $140,000. The township has budgeted the $320,000 in the current budget. It also noted that the road commission will be completing the recycled asphalt product wrap projects on the gravel roads of Conservation Street, Crampton, and Leonard. The match, this match of ours, $165,000, was previously approved with ARPA funding, and the project needs to be completed by December 31, 2026. The amount was included in the fiscal year 26-27 budget under the ARPA budget. I've communicated to the road commission that we will not be signing an updated work order because due to ARPA rules, I can't sign an updated work order because it needed to be allocated after a certain date. And so we have the original work order, which they were comfortable with, but that is why we're not approving a separate work order for that amount. And so I have 2 motions, if we can handle them separately, but happy to answer questions if anyone has them.
Is work at Clements Mill essentially the same that was done at Grand Valley Estates last summer?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. All right. So if anyone has driven Grand Valley Estates,
Yeah, and here's a map. We show what.
So I mean, you live out there, so is it essentially like you got new roads, basically?
Yeah, they did a really nice job. They came in and they were very fast and very efficient in what they did. Their communication was rather on the bad side as to when it was gonna occur, like that kind of thing, but they helped residents get in and out. They were very conscientious of all of it, and they take it down the 2 inches, they come in and press it down, and then they come in and it's pretty much, they did our whole development like in a week.
All right, cool. All right. And then the only other question, Julius, is we had talked about, are we gonna try to have them do wrap on 3 Mile?
Yeah, so I'm gonna request a wrap proposal for, consideration at a future meeting. Yep.
Okay, so we ready for the first motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Kent County Road Commission work order to perform full depth mill and fill of Clements Mill Drive, Hartfield Drive, Highbury Drive, and Maple Hill Avenue with the township funding an amount not to exceed $180,000 or 50% of the total $360,000 project cost.
Or
Moved by Treasurer Moran, supported by Trustee Hurwitz. This is for the Clements Mill portion of the roadworks for the summer. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Okay, the second one is the Conservation Street, McCabe Avenue. Amount not to exceed $140,000. Would someone move on that project?
I'll make the motion to approve the Kent County Road Commission work order to perform a seal coat of Conservation Street and McCabe Avenue with the township funding an amount not to exceed $140,000 or 50% of the total $280,000 project cost.
Second.
You're good.
Thank you. Moved by Treasurer Moran, supported by Trustee Carter. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Thank you. The next item is the 2025 Planning Commission Annual Report. Director said, are you going to make a couple comments?
Sure, I'll make it very brief.
Okay.
Thank you. Again, John Said, Director of Planning for the Township. Every year, at the end of the fiscal year, a report is completed and that basically summarizes the Planning Commission activities for that previous fiscal year. By state law, the State Planning Enabling Act, it is required for the Planning Commission to have this report prepared and to submit it to the governing body. In this case, that's the Township Board. So this report has been prepared, as it is every year, for your review and acceptance, hopefully. As you can see, the Planning Commission had another pretty active year with a number of planned village mixed-use overlay district reviews. There were 6 of those. There were a couple of special use requests. There were 4 planned unit development requests, including the one that we dealt with earlier tonight, and a number of other matters. There was also review at various points, including a wonderful joint meeting that we had with the Township Board regarding the zoning ordinance. I do anticipate another meeting upcoming, as we had talked about at that December meeting, probably in the next month or two. I'll work with Julius and obviously Suzanne, our consultant, to try to get that set up. But conclusion of the zoning ordinance update project is hoped for within the next, 3, 4, 5 months or thereabouts as well. So that's looking forward, but looking back, this report is presented for your review, hopefully your acceptance, and I'll do my best to answer any questions. And I do want to take this moment to compliment the Planning Commission for their work. Obviously, Trustee Carter is a member of the Planning Commission as well as the board representative on the PC. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to say, but the Planning Commission and frankly even the Zoning Board, even though they're not required to do a report, are really doing wonderful work on behalf of the community. So I wanted to take this opportunity to mention that.
If you need it, I'll make the motion that we accept the annual report, fiscal year April 1, 25 through March 31, 26. And I guess that's it, of the Planning Commission. The annual report of the Planning Commission.
Support.
A motion to approve the annual report from the Planning
I
Commission?
think we're accepting it, not approving it.
We're accepting the report. Yes, thank you. Accepting the report as presented from the Planning Commission Director. Was it moved by, who moved?
I did.
Moved by Trustee
I did.
Carter, supported by
And I'll support.
Treasurer Moran. Thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. I have one quick just remark. James Moyer, who's been on the Planning Commission for a number of years, has stepped down for health reasons, and I am in the process of reviewing several applications. I had hoped to actually have it done for this meeting, but because a couple new candidates popped up that I'm reached out to, and I'm kind of waiting for back and forth, but I'm hoping that for the end of April meeting that we'll be able to get the 7th member back on the Planning Commission.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
All right, the next section is our department reports from all of our department heads. Julius, do you want to talk specifically about yours a little bit?
Just one update, then I'm happy to answer questions. Board training, work session schedule, I'm gonna send out. I gotta get with Eric Wolcott from MSU Extension, get some new dates. The dates that were provided, we didn't have a good match with the board, so I'll follow up and try to get that scheduled, hopefully this week. And then happy to answer questions on anything else on my report.
Just have one silly one, Julius, and that's, what do they say, these guys on marking marking parking spots, how long are they supposed to last? Couple
Dennis?
years?
Yeah, do you want to come up, Dennis? Because I had the same question, because I
Yeah,
knew you would have that question.
And that is a very good question, and it all depends on the weather, the sun exposure with the UV light, the amount of plowing that happens and scrapes up the paint. It could be anywhere from 2 years to 5 years, depending on that wearability on that surface, or the UV, disruption of that paint.
Interesting, okay. Thank you.
Would any of the other department heads like to come up and discuss anything? Okay. Does anyone have any questions for a department head?
I got a comment.
Okay.
I know that every one of the people who write these up every month sometimes don't get recognized for their additional work. But having read these all along, I'd really like to just say sincerely thank you for the extra time. It keeps us all in motion as understanding what you got going, where things are at, what's coming up, what problems we've encountered, what disasters, what lawsuits, I mean, whatever the case might be, just so that we have a good understanding. So thank you all for taking the time to do it. It's wonderful.
I echo that. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to board member comment. Any members of the board like to comment on anything?
The only thing I would like to say is I saw the map real quickly out of the corner of my eye in regards to these Pazer ratings, and I love the fact that there's so much green on these roads. We've come a long way. Keep up the good work.
No, okay. Thank you. All right, what I'd like to do is, because we do have a closed session tonight for some legal opinion, that I'd like to move the additional public comment to now right after board member comment. So I'm going to do that at this time. Would any members of the public like to come up on any topic that they'd like to speak about?
Scott Rissy, 11240 Cascade Road. First off, I've been to a meeting or two in Cascade Township, and I see you guys have a lot of really interesting stuff going on, and we tend to get a lot more public comment at our meetings than you guys. So I just thought it was interesting that nobody rushed up to greet you tonight, but looks like you got a lot of stuff going on, and I wanted to thank you for the opportunity for Thornapple Inc. to take care of the lawn care for 3 more years, and we look forward to working on our communication with your team and our team, and move forward from there. So, thank you.
Great.
Thanks, Scott.
Very nice, thank you. We look forward to it too. Anyone else? Okay, I'll go ahead and close the second public comment. And then we are ready to do a motion to go into our closed session, and at that point we will ask the members in the audience to please go home. Basically.
You said please.
So would someone move to?
You got it.
Oh, okay, great, thank you. You guys are fast off the mark there. All right, so.
We're ready to go.
So we have a motion by Dan Hurwitz, support by trustee Danstra. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Hearing none, so we're in a closed session at this.
Just as note, it's to review written legal opinion.
Oh, consider written legal opinion pursuant to MCL 15268, Section 81H of the Michigan Open Meetings Act.
Yep.